Hello, hello, my beloved waking gods and goddesses. Welcome to Love, Truth, and Beauty. Do it yourself, spiritual awakening for divine in the flesh. Now with replays on IGTV at dakini.kiss, where together we learn how to surf and navigate the ups and downs of the totality of human experience, composing a new earth beyond the limitations of this perception managed reality matrix of five senses, having discovered our true divine creative natures in our true sensual sensorial universe of seven senses, creating formless into form outside of the matrix in the true quantum field creation field universe. Before we get started, please do give this video a thumbs up. Please also hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, selecting the all setting so that when I upload videos, the YouTube will let you know. I generally upload Tuesdays and Fridays, 2 p.m. Eastern. My name is Maria West, and I am your hostess of the highest, here to download, upload, inspire, and usher you into your bestest and brightest selves, your bestest and brightest light, and inviting you all to open your hearts wider and wider and wider still. Hello, my love bugs, my darlings, my sweetie pies. Welcome to episode 207, a longer viewer Q&A Christmas Eve video to answer quite candidly a question from M. Watts about how I deal with my personal triggers of emotional intensity. Okay, but before we get there, I wanted to show this ring because there have been many queries about this ring. This ring is not the flower of life. It is the seed of life. So, okay, that's the difference. It's the seed of life. Okay, moving on. All right, this query about how I deal with my emotional triggers of emotional intensity. Yes, I'm going to be honest, okay? No bullshit. I will try to control my potty mouth, but just straight up, straight shooting, outing myself. Okay, now I used to get emotionally triggered like a motherfucker regularly, so much so that it got expressed, quite frankly, into a lot of self-hate, self-harm, self-loathing, and self-destruction. Now, I am really quite fortunate and blessed that I didn't end up in the gutter as a drug addict or murdered, although I came close to being murdered once upon a time, actually more than a few times. Anyways, that being said, I had a death wish, and I would engage in extremely dangerous and risky behavior, or I would just completely lose control. So how would I lose control? I would throw hissy fits bigger than the state of Texas. And I used to live there once upon a time, kicking things like the tires of a police officer in Dallas for pulling me over in the middle of the night for going down a one-way street the wrong way. Oh, yes, I did that. Throwing things around, driving fast and erratically in the heat of the moment, like backing into a fancy car over 20 times. In me driving another fancy car, wrecking them both all to shit because I caught my husband cheating on me. All right? Like that. I've said lasting, damaging, fucked up things out of hurt and anger. You name it, I've done it. Now, for a while, I had a practice of buying breakables at the Goodwill and getting into padded protective gear, gloves, helmet, and goggles included, baseball bat in hand, and going to town breaking shit. Not to forget to mention my screaming your head off anger venting practice. Have I done a video on that? I'm not quite sure, but if I haven't, I will. You'll love it. Now, thankfully, 6 decades at this point plus of living and doing the great work and taking full responsibility for my shit, what I do, and especially for the shit I don't do, has mellowed me out. Right. Okay? Now, it is never fun to be at the mercy of your emotions and your irrational thoughts. And when you are moving centered like I am, okay? Moving centered meaning quite often my body does these knee-jerk responses without me even thinking about it or feeling about it. I mean, we just go there, okay? So being moving centered, if you're moving centered, your body is going to take the hits, okay? Along with your health from all the various states of being, okay? So I've bruised and cut myself. I've jumped out of planes for shits and giggles and have suffered very, very hard landings. I've been hit by cars, oh yeah, and by people. I broke a man's jaw in self-defense. Of course, he broke my nose first. I've laid out men over 6 feet tall, either on their faces or on their asses, when I was a pretty little cocktail waitress, reacting instantly to getting rudely sexually harassed or manhandled. Okay, imagine that. I've broken a lot of bones, dislocated my shoulder, blah, 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 blah. Now, drama and excitement, unease, frustration, anxiety, disappointment, rage, doubt, more rage, did I say rage? Rage, grief, have all fueled a very chaotic and danger-seeking life on the edge I once upon a time lived, okay? And I lived for that shit too. Now, all of these states of being related to specific events each of us encounters daily. So I am not unique in any of this evolution or revolution or whatever, involution of handling my triggers, okay? I'm not unique. Everybody's got to figure out what works. Now, even today, I get blasted with professional stress. And the latest, my business apparently is not considered essential because of the 719. So now for myself, work visas so I can travel are no longer viable options for me, nor is talking about current events with strangers, family, friends. Now, my response to these events can still be based on my frame of mind and the circumstances surrounding the situation at the time. Okay, so one size does not fit all for me. Any kind of technique that I have may not work in the moment, especially if, it depends. It depends on if I've gotten enough sleep, if I'm well hydrated, if my self-care levels are on the up and up. Okay, if they are not, shit's gonna hit the fan. However, some emotional triggers, when the shit goes and hits the fan, defy even my highest levels of self-care and consciousness. Yep, I fuck up regularly. Okay, this is where I have to wake myself up, see reality, exit the matrix, enter into my awareness, awakened attention center, you know what I'm talking about, and apply my understanding of this out of the matrix knowledge and practice and open my toolbox in a big way and do the great work. Okay, so my loves, it is in these moments when I'm tripping and I'm starting to tweak that it becomes all about full on emotional mental awareness, precisely identifying what I am experiencing quickly and doing what I need to do to deviate from the prefab script that has been initiated. Okay, in other words, rather than, fall into the trap of going what I would usually do when I'm fully unconscious, I have to wake myself up, see reality. Okay, so that's what gets initiated, is that you realize when you're starting to slip and you're starting to tweak, you're going unconscious. You're allowing the outer screen of reality or the shit going on in your inner screen in your head, okay, to hijack your attention, and then your attention goes south from there. Okay, so by seeing yourself, seeing reality, you're waking yourself up essentially. Now, we all have varying emotional triggers, but the solution is precisely the same for all of us. Okay, so this identifies what triggers you over time and flagging, okay, the red flags, and noticing what it is that is starting to fuck up your emotional state. So for me, okay, I'm just going to talk about myself because I have that direct experience of having to be in this body and tripping out with the outer screen of the Matrix shit shows or the trips inside my head, the acerbic commentary. Okay, number one, reminders of unwanted memories. Now, this is one of the reasons why I have thrown away probably 90% of my photos and memorabilia. I just don't keep that shit anymore. It's not good for me. All right, number two, uncomfortable topics, like the 7-19, for instance, to fox or not to fox, to mosque or not to mosque, all that shit. Avoid it completely. Political shit, I don't give a fuck. You guys can get in my face. I really don't care, okay? Number three, another person's words or actions. I can be extremely unforgiving and also allow others to define me when I am sound asleep, okay? That their opinions somehow, oh my God, have absolutely destroyed me. All right, number four, behaviors. My own behaviors. Okay, so here are just a few examples of my specific triggers. Feeling rejected, feeling unseen, being told my business is not essential, therefore I cannot travel, okay? Feeling betrayed, being lied to, feeling as though I'm being treated unfairly, feeling helpless, feeling excluded or ignored, feeling disapproved, being criticized, feeling unwanted or unneeded, feeling smothered or too badly needed. Okay, feelings of insecurity, feeling used, feeling like I'm just eye candy. Okay, feeling taken for granted, feeling unappreciated, feeling unloved, feeling like I have no freedom, like I have no rights. I hate that shit. Okay, I tend to my triggers to remind myself to wake up, see myself, see reality, exit the matrix, enter into my awakened awareness attention center, and compose reality. Now, a crucial part of my strategy in recognizing my triggers involves paying attention to when situations generate intense emotional response. Like for me, when shit starts to happen, I get a burning at the top of my head. I shit you not. Or my heart starts pounding. Another example, and this is actually the perfect example that I can share from my life from when I was a child, is when my mother would call me, I would experience a visceral and intense response to the sound of her voice. My palms would immediately get all sweaty, I'd get all clammy, followed by the sickening feeling in my stomach, then overwhelming dread. I would often stand frozen, my heart beating quickly, my blood pressure rising, feeling its pulsing harshness up against my temples, that pounding, and fight or flight stress hormones would flood my little body, and usually for good reason, because she was a psycho and had zero impulse control with her shit. Now, as I got older, I noticed certain voices would still trigger the same reactions. I finally had to learn how to step back and take an honest look at these signs, stop to consider what just happened or what is happening, and activate a conscious response. Now, the great work is not easy to practice, as it is about waking yourself up just in time to have full awareness of what's happening and nipping that script in the bud right now, where you just do something that's just completely off base, so that particular trigger, that pendulum, can't grab you, cannot hijack your attention. Okay, you get it? And sadly, for this particular trigger in my life, I've had to cut contact off entirely from she who shall remain nameless, because it is that toxic and harmful to my well-being, and it doesn't serve anybody. Okay, now another, maybe a more everyday example, like say you and your partner are making dinner and he doesn't respond to your attempted smooch. Perhaps he pushes you away or seems distracted. Now you're disappointed with your that your affection attempt went unacknowledged or shoot away, and you start to get angry and frustrated, or feel rejected and sad and are suddenly flooded by thoughts that he's cheating on you or he met someone. You can hear your heart pounding and your jaw clenching. It takes everything in you not to snap and say something like, hey, what the fuck is wrong with you? Or, hey, can I have a hello kiss? And then talk about what's up with you? You see what I'm saying? So there's reaction and there is a response, right? And the other way around. And of course, this doesn't take into consideration that perhaps he has his own reality, which he does or she does, that has nothing to do with you. All right, so bear that in mind. So here's where I recommend the following path in reverse. Okay, so try following your feelings back to the original place of sensing that feeling. Okay, so a lot of my own issues about feeling unheard really goes back to my childhood and back to my mother. And so by thinking on those other situations that make you feel what you're currently feeling, it's like you become aware that perhaps you're being hurled back in a time when, like with this example, you caught your beloved cheating on you. Okay, now when the emotional trigger, that is your partner pushing you away in that example, is fired, you're transported back to an old lifeline when you were actually betrayed. And sometimes the connection isn't quite that clear, or you have to do a bit more digging and excavating. Okay, now when strong emotions come up, please don't ignore them. Don't fight them back. Instead, approach them with loving curiosity to get more insight to what may have triggered them. Okay, do any patterns stand out? For example, relationship discussions that might bring up envy and frustration related to your fear of being betrayed, or your fear of being alone, or your fear that whatever it is. Okay, so here's the fun part. It all has to do with elevated levels of importance. Now, you've heard me talk about this, and importance levels according to you, not anyone else. For example, like being right or being offended or having judgments about the world and its shit shows. Okay, we can get some touchy and we can get touchy and personal about having judgments about another stranger's outfit, for instance, or the way your mate is chewing food. I hear this shit all the time, by the way. Or a family member excluding you from an event, or the way someone parallel parked their car, or whatever the fuck grabs your attention in the outer screen of reality, which traps you in the matrix. Now, whenever we have these elevated levels of importance programmed in and it gets tricky and it gets triggered, shit tends to hit the fan. Am I right? Right? It's super fun, right? No. Okay, that shit's not fun, okay? But you can undo the past programming with a bit of time and attention and quiet time to tune in and manage your importance level at the moment, which is often veiled as righteous indignation. Now, once you've identified your emotional triggers, you might think, well, that's easy. All I have to do is avoid those situations. Well, it's not that simple, my loves, though, and you can't avoid and escape from every tough situation life throws at you. So you have to be, present and open. And it's pretty much a guarantee that some shit is going to come up throughout the whole of your life. In other words, you're better off scrapping the escapism and preparing yourself to deal with any trigger that might pop off by fine-tuning your importance levels. In other words, I know that for myself, the tool that works the best is to seek advantage or benefit, even in the middle of a shit show, even in the middle of a meltdown, traffic jam, or, just some weird altercation with a stranger. Okay, now here's some pointers to help you respond from your awakened attention center. Wake yourself up the moment you get triggered. Okay, so wake yourself up, see yourself, see your reality, exit the matrix, enter into your awareness center, your center screen, okay, your awakened state, accept your emotions. Own your importance levels as you enter into your awareness attention center. Now, first, remind yourself that it is normal, my loves, to feel whatever you're feeling at any given moment, whether that's sadness, anger, fear, feeling upset. Triggers can evoke plenty of emotions and plenty of irrational thoughts that follow thereafter, and that's normal. Sometimes you can feel it viscerally in your body with a stomach ache, or your throat starts to clench, or you start coughing, or you start feeling twitchy, or you start feeling like, for me, like you want to get the fuck away, okay? Bolting, escaping, that's kind of my thing. But before you can begin working with these emotions, you have to accept them, all right? Denying or ignoring what you generally feel generally makes it really pretty much worse all over, okay? So it's your importance levels that need to be tended to, not your emotions, okay? So emotions are normal. The importance levels, the immediacy of having to deal with things, especially in the heat of the moment, those need to be adjusted. So give yourself some time and space. Now, physically leaving can help you avoid emotional overwhelm, especially if you feel like you're going to hit someone or be violent, or if you're going to be hit. So if you can, you can excuse yourself and take a short break. This can also prevent you from having that instinctive reaction, especially if you're moving centered, to hit someone or to run someone over with your car or drive crazy. You know what I'm talking about. I think you guys do. So check yourselves before you wreck yourselves, my loves. And sometimes stepping out of a particular pattern or a particular script on purpose, it takes a lot of work to do that, can diffuse it even for a brief moment, okay? Think objectively. Generally speaking, most people in your life probably don't try to make you feel bad on purpose, okay? It's not their job, really. Some of their actions or the words that might upset you could even be a byproduct of their own emotional states that have nothing to do with you, that you are not aware of, so bear that in mind. Now, your partner who ignored you when you tried to kiss them, maybe they're going through some shit of their own. You don't know. And one of the things that you can do is you can start asking questions, because everybody has their own unique unfolding of their day, and their emotions are often bubbling under the surface at any time. And so you might not know what's going on. So it's good to ask questions. And it's so easy to misinterpret what's going on in behavior or intention, a text. I mean, how many of us have fucking flipped out over a text because you were expecting an emoji or you were expecting some response immediately, and you didn't get it until a few hours later, and you sit there and you stew on it? You don't know what the fuck is going on, right? So give the person or persons the benefit of the doubt and work on adjusting your reactivity, your importance levels. Okay, communication is key, my loves. When someone else's actions or even their so-called vibe, according to you, trigger your emotions, opening up and asking questions, asking the person questions directly to help verify your perspective or fucking blow it up and eradicate it altogether is a good way to avoid situational shit shows for no reason. And maybe own the fact that maybe you're addicted to some little drama and you have to start shit. I mean, I know people who start shit for sport and don't even know they're doing it, okay? Because sometimes And that whole thing of creating drama for sport, there's a script that's running in your head, and it's part of the pendulum that wants you to react, wants others to react, to give you attention, give them your juice so you can either be right about it, or maybe you're into being wrong about everything. The world is fucked up and a messy place and fucked up and controlled by lying psychos, all that kind of shit, right? Now, remember, there's this truism. This is important. So listen up, my loves. There is evidence to support everything in all theories. If you choose an idea, you will find plenty of evidence to support that theory, that assumption, even if the theory and assumption solely exists in your mind, in your head, in your inner screen, and the evidence in your mind's eye or your heart's pushed and pulled strings. Sometimes our reactions and triggers, our thoughts and our feelings are not trustable. Bear that in mind. Now, remember, when you got triggered, only to realize that the other person had no clue what was happening and why. Okay? Because they're not in your reality. You cannot create another person's reality. Another person cannot create in yours. But your assumptions, your actions, non-actions, words, spoken, unspoken vibe can impact one another. Okay? Now, that's real. That is real. And all of you, with a little communication, all that can go a long way on this one. So bottom line, it is all on you. So you got this, my loves. You are the problem and you are the solution, and only you can create in your reality. Now, calming this stuff down keeps you headed in the chosen reaction. Okay, so there's a flow of energy that you have set, so you can decide how you want this to go. The less you deviate from your path of peace, of whatever you are intending, the quicker you'll find those higher lifelines where more of what you want exists. And so it's easy once you see it, but first you got to see what it is you are actually doing. Okay? And you have to know what your triggers are. And you have to know that as soon as you're triggered, you need to wake up, see yourself, see reality, exit the matrix, enter into your awareness center. Own your attention, own your emotions, accept them, compose a different reality. Okay, my grand creators, that is my speech. Would you please help me grow this channel by giving this video a thumbs up and leaving a comment in the comments box below or in private? I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I've learned how to do like keywords. So a lot of comments are like being held back. Lord have mercy. Man, there's some people that have way too much free time. Anyways, moving along, please share this video with your communities, friends, family members, and on social media platforms you feel would benefit from this content. Please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, selecting the all setting so that when I upload videos, YouTube will let you know. And if you find value, enjoy, or benefit from my content and videos, or are at least entertained by them, won't you please consider supporting my work through a donation? My PayPal link is below, as is my contact information with my link tree. And whoever you are that reported my link tree, naughty, 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 it is back up, okay? So that link tree is going to hook you up with all my stuff and the many different ways you can connect with me or work with me. I thank you all so much for hanging out with me, with your participation and focused attention. I really do appreciate it. I cannot do this work without you. So until next time, my love bugs, always act from love outside the matrix, from your center screen, composing a new reality, quantum jumping, all your lifelines. That's right. Let's do it. Let's go higher and higher and higher so that we can all be the love that we are. We can share our love. We can create, make art, make music, make love, and you can all help me repopulate the true quantum field creation field universe. Here's to love, truth, and beauty, my waking gods and goddesses. Mwah! Merry Christmas, beauties. Bye-bye.